What's up, Wizards? Welcome to MTGAlchemy. In this video, we're going to be going over my deck that I'm going to be playing in Wizard Wars 4 coming up. What's up, Wizards? I'm Coy.
And I'm Shelby.
And today we're going to be going over my deck that I'm going to be playing in Wizard Wars 4. But before that, let me know in the comments below. I want to see what you guys have to say about the updated ban list with Paradox Engine and the Angel that got banned and all that kind of stuff. I definitely want to see some discussion about that because I've got my opinion, but I'm probably gonna keep it to myself for now, and we'll see what myself and everybody else thinks probably during the next Wizard Wars.
I'm fine with it.
It kind of messed up one of my decks, but that's fine.
You can't use Paradox Engine.
If this is your first time here, make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you ring the bell so you never miss an episode of MTGAlchemy. So today, we're going to be talking about Xantcha. Now, I don't know if that's actually how you say her name. I'm sure one of you will let me know in the comments below. But I'm going over Xantcha, the Sleeper Agent. She is a 3-drop 5/5. Xantcha, the Sleeper Agent, enters the battlefield. An opponent of your choice gains control of it. Xantcha attacks each combat Fable and can't attack its owner or planeswalkers its owner controls. You can tap 3, Xantcha's controller loses 2 life, and you draw a card. Any player may activate this ability. So first of all, in this Wizard Wars, we've kind of constructed decks that are just fun. Fun to play, fun to kind of mess with your different play groups with.
Not super crazy competitive, but
right, definitely
powerful
not
enough that any one of them could win. Really,
right, definitely not competitive commander, but very, very fun. So anyways, I chose Xantcha because I thought we could just cause a lot of mayhem and a lot of nonsense. So the first card I want to talk about, or the first few I want to talk about, are the curses. So Xantcha's ability, first of all, you want to encourage people to attack others with Xantcha.
Right, because Xantcha can't attack you.
Right.
So you're trying to basically make everyone else attack each other.
Right. I want it to be easier for somebody to be attacked. So I'll give Xantcha to someone, and and somebody else, I'll give them a curse. Well, these two curses. So Curse of Disturbance and Curse of Opulence. So Curse of Disturbance is a 3-drop enchantment or a curse enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So whenever that player is attacked, I get to create a zombie, and whoever attacked him gets to create a zombie.
Okay.
So whoever
you
I
have
gave
to attack him in order to get the zombie.
Right.
Him or her.
Right. So the point is, whoever I gave Xantcha to, that guy gets a benefit off of Xantcha, even though he's ultimately the one suffering the most because everybody's using the ability to draw cards off of Xantcha.
Right, because even if you don't have creatures to attack that person with, you can still pay 3 mana and it does damage to them, and you get to draw cards.
Right, right. So Curse of Opulence is a 1-drop enchantment or a curse enchant player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, create a colorless artifact token named Gold. As it has sacrifice and this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Each opponent attacking that player does the same. So again, if you have Xantcha and you attack somebody that has Curse of Opulence, you get to create a gold and I get to create a gold. So it's mana. Everybody gets mana. So it kind of incentivizes people to attack others, right? So the other thing that you want to be able to do with Xantcha, you also want to be able to draw and use her ability, but you want to be able to do it practically for free. Right.
Yeah.
So a few of the cards that I put in here to activate Xantcha's ability more, easier, is stuff like Thrawn Turbine. Thrawn Turbine is a 1-drop artifact. During your upkeep, you may add up to 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. This mana cannot be spent to cast spells. So on your upkeep, you get 2 mana. And it's on your upkeep, so when you change phases, so untap, upkeep, draw, when you go to draw, that mana leaves, it drains, so you don't get to use it anymore. But on your upkeep,
you can untap tap those two, tap 1 to deal 2 damage.
Right, so you can use the 2 mana that this gives you in your upkeep, and then you can tap a mana, and now you get to activate Xantcha's ability for a discount.
For 1.
Right,
yeah.
for 1.
Which is pretty worth it. It lets you, it's a free draw, does 2 damage.
Right.
All for 1 mana.
All for 1
basically.
mana. Yeah. And it works even better if you have the other enchantment out. So, or another enchantment, rather. Breda Fire. Breda Fire is a 2-drop enchantment, cumulative upkeep. Add 1 red mana to your mana pool. So, cumulative upkeep, for you that don't know, so for instance, Breda Fire, when your first upkeep comes around after you play it, you get 1 red mana. Well, on the next time, you get 2 red mana, and then 3 red mana, and then 4 red mana, and then 5 red mana, and so on and so on. So you keep going until you just have a bunch of mana on your upkeep. Now, keep in mind, it is on your upkeep, so the minute you change phases and you go to your draw step, it will still drain. But during your upkeep, you will get to use that to activate Xantcha's ability for free, which gives you amazing card advantage, right? So the last one we'll briefly mention here is Thrawn Dynamo. Thrawn Dynamo is a 4-drop artifact, and you tap it, it gives you 3 mana. No downside. It's just, it's kind of expensive. It's 4-drop, right? So you have to have 4 mana to play it, but it gives you 3 mana so that you can activate Xantcha's ability.
Which is really good if you don't want to use your colored mana.
Right.
If you want to use that for specific spells.
Right.
Xantcha.
So we're going to get to how to incentivize people to use Xantcha's ability here in a minute, but... oh yeah, everybody has to eventually. So, but what I wanted to do with this deck also was to create a little bit of havoc, a little bit of chaos, and bring everybody equally as much pain, right? So when people tap 3 and use Xantcha's ability, it deals 2 damage to the player that controls Xantcha, but I also want everyone else to take 2 damage as well. If you want to tap Xantcha to use her ability, I want everybody to have to take damage off of that ability, right? So Harsh Mentor. Harsh Mentor is a 2-drop creature, human cleric. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player. So now everybody's taking 2 damage, even if they activate it, you know?
Right.
But the good thing is it doesn't affect you. It affects your opponents. Yeah, now there are some spells in here that do affect everyone, including yourself, which can be risky, but is also a lot of fun whenever you go to do it.
It's not.
Yeah,
No,
you
it isn't.
love it. She loves it. She loves it. So the next one up is Havoc Festival. Havoc Festival is a 6-drop artifact or 6-drop enchantment. Players cannot gain life, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half of his or her life rounded up. So 6-drop, it is a 6-drop. It takes a little bit to get there, but there are other ways to get there faster, like Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual, stuff like that. So you can figure out a way to get there faster, but on everybody's upkeep, everybody loses half their life. So now it's almost like this just imminent doom feeling. You know, it feels kind of bad whenever you're, going around the table. It kind of gets closer and closer to you, and you have to lose half your life.
Removal or counterspell, you're done.
Right. So it's interesting, but it does affect you too. So you will lose half your life when it comes your upkeep as well.
It's not only opponents; it's everyone.
Right. So the next one I want to talk about, now this one is kind of bad. It's even worse now with Smothering Tithe out, so it would be a cool combo with Smothering Tithe. But the next one is War's Toll. War's Toll is a 4-drop enchantment. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that player controls. If a creature an opponent controls attacks, all creatures that opponents control attack if able. So if one player taps a mana for mana, they have to tap them all.
They all tap.
And if you attack somebody with a creature, you have to attack with all of them.
Right, so whoever has Xantcha has to attack each combat if able.
Right.
So whoever swings with Xantcha, they have to swing out, and they can't swing out at you. Well, they can swing other creatures at you, but they can't swing Xantcha at you.
So another thing that's really bad about this card that I figured out playing on tabletop is, so if somebody has out a Smothering Tithe, the last thing you want to do is play War's Toll. And the reason is because if War's Toll is out, and it comes their draw phase. So they're in their draw phase, and then they have to pay for Smothering Tithe, right?
That taps all their mana.
So that taps all of their mana during that player's draw step, which means they can't play anything else for the rest of the turn, right?
That's perfect.
No, it's well, you don't want to do that sitting across from it, because then he's just going to get a bunch of mana, right? He's going to get a bunch of mana. I mean, it would be great in a Boros deck if you had Smothering Tithe and War's Toll. Great combo. Like, that's a really cool combo. But sitting across from it and then have somebody else playing Smothering Tithe is just really bad.
I think it's great.
I don't like it at all.
I'm the one playing it.
A couple of others that I just want to mention here is a 3-drop enchantment, Citadella Pain. At the end of each player's turn, Citadella Pain deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands he or she controls. So this one...
You don't want that out with War's Toll. Only because if someone did tap all their mana, then that wouldn't do any damage to them.
Right. But there's a method to my madness. So the next one...
Madness, but...
Oh. So the next one is Mana Barbs. So Mana Barbs is a 4-drop enchantment. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, Mana Barbs deals 1 damage to that player. So now when they're tapping their mana, they're taking damage. If they don't tap their mana, they're taking damage. So everyone's taking damage whether they tap their mana or not, and it's perfect.
It's so dumb.
It's bad. It's bad, and it's not good for you. And keep in mind, you have a limited time to kill everybody at the same time, basically. Yeah. But that also pairs with Price of Glory. So Price of Glory is a 3-drop enchantment. Whenever a player taps land for mana during another player's turn, destroy that mana. So you want to destroy that land. So you want to destroy their land when they go to counter your stuff. If they want to go counter something that you want to play, it's going to cost you more than just paying for it. You're going to have to sacrifice that mana.
That's so bad.
Yeah, it is bad. So it limits what people want to respond to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it does.
So just a couple more things to touch on. Sangromancer, 4-drop, 3/3, Vampire Shaman, flying. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may gain 3 life. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3 life. So now when people are killing your creatures, or if they're discarding cards, which we're going to get in the discard segment here in a second, now you get to gain 3 life off of all of those things. And when a creature dies, you get to gain life off of those.
Unless you have the card out that says players can't gain life.
Which is also counterproductive, but we're kind of going for like a psycho deck, right? It's kind of what this is about. Psycho. Actually, better version, this is the Deadpool deck.
There we go, and it's red and black.
It's red and black.
So that's
Deadpool.
Perfect.
Hey.
Deadpool.
So the next one that I want to go over is it's also kind of in the realm of a little bit, this guy has issues, right? I promise I don't. I just enjoy building weird decks.
He does. He's lying to you.
Oh. Anyways, 6-drop Sower of Discord is a 6/6 for 6. Flying. As Sower of Discord enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Whenever damage is dealt to one of the chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life.
I hate this one.
So this is awesome. This is great because now so you want to tether the 2 guys across from you, right? Now when he taps his land for mana, he's going to take damage. And whenever he taps his land for mana, that guy's going to take damage. It's awesome. This card also can save you. So when somebody's got something big on the board, like a Kozilek or an Ulamog or something crazy with Annihilator, right? Or whatever, you tether them and yourself. So now whatever damage that guy does to you, he's going to be doing to himself. And it really puts them in a bad spot. So
you did this to me the other night. I had an Ulamog out and probably a Kozilek, and you tethered us.
Yeah, you have to, because you don't want to take damage from the biggest guy on the board or somebody that's stronger than everybody else, because it really puts him in check. So it's kind of a win-lose situation, but it puts him in a bad spot. So keep that in mind. It is a good way to deflect damage coming at you from one of the strongest players. Now, a couple of other ones that you want to do. The reason that I put these in there, you want to be able to protect Xantcha in a way that she doesn't necessarily die, right? I don't want her to die. And there's some better spells that can do this, but like I said, we kind of wanted to go vaguely budget, kind of just more so for fun than anything.
A little bit janky.
Little bit janky.
Not like a whole lot, just a little sprinkle of jank.
Really? So to protect Xantcha, we also put Bedlam in there. I think it's probably in every Xantcha deck list. Bedlam is a 4-drop enchantment. Creatures can't block, so creatures cannot block. It's simple as that. No creatures can block. Xantcha can swing at whoever she wants to, and she will never be blocked. Mm-hmm. Massacre Girl. I think Massacre Girl is good for any deck, especially any deck that... especially anything that generates tokens. I think anything that generates tokens, Massacre Girl has to be in the deck, because you kill one thing, and Massacre Girl has a really good way of spinning out and killing everything.
Yeah, you've board wiped us like 4 times with Massacre Girl.
Yeah, she reminds me of Arya Stark. Spoiler alert. So a couple of other ones just real quick that I want to touch on for just kind of disruption and overall chaos is Chaos Wand.
So literal chaos.
Chaos Wand. I love Chaos Wand for a lot of reasons. Chaos Wand is a 3-drop artifact. Tap 4, tap it. Target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of that player's library in a random order. So what's really cool about this, and something that I've done to Billy on tabletop, is Billy, I'm calling you out, sorry.
I'm sure he appreciated.
Yeah, Billy made it to Fury deck. We'll talk about that later at a later time. It's a really good deck, but I hate it and I want to call it trash. So it's actually, whatever. But it's actually a really good deck. But the cool thing about Chaos Wand is in one of the decks that Billy made, it's basically nothing but counter spells. And what's really cool is you can use Chaos Wand to use his counters to counter his own counter. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very poetic and it's beautiful. And when you do it for the first time, you'll never want to not have a Chaos Wand in your deck again. It's fantastic. So that's enough about Chaos Wand. I really like it. You can do a lot of cool things with it. Even, the cards that let people go get mana, all that kind of stuff, you can use those cards to go get your own mana if you're running a deck that's red and black or something that doesn't have mana ramp. Getting down to the last part of this kind of disruption and chaos cards here, Disrupt Decorum. So Disrupt Decorum is a 4-drop sorcery. Goad all creatures you don't control until your next turn. Those creatures attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Flavor text: dinner and politics don't mix.
I was hoping you were going to read that.
So
I just noticed it.
Right. So anyway, I love stuff that basically just kind of disrupts the entire table in this deck anyway. So if you have a goad ability, which you saw in the last Wizard Wars, but it actually wasn't used. But Disrupt Decorum is really cool. You goad all creatures. Every creature every player controls has to attack, but they can't attack you. And that's beautiful. You don't want people attacking you. You're already taking enough damage off of lands and
we want
all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, they want to attack me, but they can't because I'm not allowing it. And that's really fun to be able to say that. So the next one and last one in the chaos type of realm here is Vile Smash of the Fierce. Vile Smash of the Fierce is a partner card, but he doesn't have the partner in the deck, or a partner in the deck, just simply because he really doesn't need one. So Vile Smash of the Fierce is a 3-drop, 1 colorless, 1 black, and 1 red for a 2/3 legendary creature, Goblin Berserker. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, Vile Smash of the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to an opponent chosen at random. So that's really fun because it's not your fault if
the next card you choose to play is a 10-drop.
Yeah, I play Disrupt Decorum and it's a 4-drop. Oh, well, somebody random's taking 4.
That is your fault.
That's not my fault. It's Vile Smasher's fault. I don't know why they're blaming me when it's Vile Smasher's that's doing it.
You're choosing to play the card.
Vile Smasher is a creature. He's got his own mind. He's a goblin person.
You're a goblin person.
Anyway, so that's kind of it for the chaos portion of this deck. So now we're gonna get into what really makes the deck kind of run and really puts your opponents in a very bad spot.
All right, so now we're gonna get into the discard portion of this deck tech.
My favorite part.
The only time I'm a fan of discard is when I'm playing Muldrotha. Because those cards I can just pull back out of my graveyard with Muldrotha. But if I'm playing anything else, I loathe discard.
Spoiler alert.
I loathe it.
No. We told you that in the last episode, didn't we? She's playing Muldrotha. We'll get to that deck tech later.
And it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fun.
It is. But getting back to this, so there are a lot of cards in this deck that make people discard, which sucks because, I mean, who likes not having card advantage?
I love not having card advantage.
You love when we don't have card advantage.
Oh, that's right. Reverse that.
Oh, my word. So the first one we're going to talk about, and I don't know how to pronounce this, but it is a 3-drop creature. Its name is Cunningly Samantha?
Lethamancer? I don't know. You guys tell us.
Yep. It is a 2/2, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. So that includes you.
Yeah, each player. It does hurt you, but...
It does, but it also gets cards out of people's hands.
Right. They have to fear the fact that on your upkeep, every turn, they're going to have to discard a card.
Right.
It does suck.
The next one we're going to talk about is an enchantment. There are a lot of enchantments in this deck, and all of them are horrible.
More enchantments than creatures, actually.
I think so, actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's dumb. This one is a 3-drop. It is Bottomless Pit. During each player's upkeep, that player discards a card at random.
Random. So they don't even know which card they're going to be discarding. They basically have to set them all flat, assign them all numbers, and roll for it.
Roll for it. The next one is another 3-drop enchantment, and it also sucks.
One of my favorites.
Is Oppression.
Oppression.
Whenever a player plays a spell, that player discards a card from his or her hand.
Whenever a player plays a spell, they discard a card from their hand. One of my really good friends, Daniel, loves Oppression. He loves it. It's one of his favorite cards in Magic, and it's one of his favorite things in life. But, just kidding. Love you, Daniel. Miss you. But anyway, so yeah, Oppression's really cool. It does make you discard a card every time somebody plays a spell. Or every time they play a spell, right. They have to discard. Mm-hmm. But it's really good. And keep in mind, back to earlier when we were talking about Sangromancer, Sangromancer works perfectly with all of these cards because, again, it's a 4-drop, 3/3 flying. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and whenever an opponent discards a card, you may gain 3 life. So every single one of these cards we're going to go over, remember that with Sangromancer because it's...
every time we're discarding cards,
yep.
He's gaining life.
Dissing cards. Anyways,
that's how much I hate these cards. I have to diss them.
We're really dumb. But...
well, you are.
But... yeah, so you're going to get a lot of value off of Sangromancer with all of these cards. And there's also some other cards in the deck, 8 rake cards that we're not going to go over, but you guys know what they are. And they'll be in the tapped out link in the description below. But anyways, let's keep going.
All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is a 4-drop sorcery. It is Siphon Mind.
Yes.
This one's fun. Each other player discards a card from his or her hand. You draw a card for each card discarded this way.
So card advantage. So everybody has to discard cards, triggering Sangromancer, triggering all this other stuff.
Right, and it gives you card advantage because if things are making you discard, you can kind of get those back.
Right. Exactly. So it's kind of, I mean, it is a one of, in a 99 card deck, so...
Right, but there are certain ways to get things back and play them again or search for them,
Right, and I do have the tutors in this deck, so...
Right, so it works.
Yep.
The next one.
This is my favorite card.
This is my least favorite card.
This is my favorite card.
Deck. The entire deck. I'd be fine with this deck if this card wasn't in it.
Just keep in mind, once again, I can't iterate this enough. When you have your tutors, go tutor for Sangromancer, get Sangromancer out on the field, because this next card is going to make it well worth it.
this is a 6-drop, 1 red, 1 black, 4 colorless, for Saiyr of Insanity. It is a 6/4 demon with, at the beginning of each end step, each player discards his or her hand.
Each end step.
Every single one.
Each player.
Everyone has to discard their hand at every single end step.
Right. So when you play it and you end your turn, everyone's discarding their hand, triggering Sangromancer, and you're gaining a crap ton of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
So you really want to try to make sure that all of your opponents are pretty much tapped out for the most part.
Right. And keep in mind too that this is also the reason we're making people discard so much is because you want them to have to use Xantcha's ability to draw cards. So you're kind of putting them in an even tougher spot because some people want to kill it, but at the same time, the only way they're going to be able to get cards in their hand is to draw. And it's at each player's end step. So when your end step comes around, you can draw an extra card on your turn as opposed to just drawing one and having 2 cards that you might be able to play, but otherwise you are going to be discarding them with Saiyr of Insanity out. I like this. Yeah, I like this card a lot because it does keep everybody pretty suppressed, and they won't have a lot of responses. They won't have responses for your stuff. They can't keep counters. They can't keep anything like that in their hand. So you're pretty much free to do whatever you want. Pretty much,
and it sucks. I hate this card.
One of my favorites.
I hate it. Saiyr of Insanity is a
All right, so
the next one we're going to talk about is a 5-drop sorcery, Awaken the Erstwhile. This one's pretty good. It's each player discards all the cards in their hand, then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens.
Again, getting rid of all of the cards in every player's hand, triggering Sangromancer, making it to where people also have to draw from Xantcha, are more inclined to use Xantcha's abilities, so that way they can draw cards and ultimately do damage to the player that I gave it to, or that you gave it to. So this is, as you can see, this is a very interactive deck, a deck where everybody has to kind of participate to make things happen.
Right, well, and that card also goes good with, you can play that, everyone gets rid of their hands, you gain a bunch of life, and then you goad everyone's creatures. Yeah. Because if you do that on your turn, on their next turn, they've got a bunch of zombies that they have to attack with.
Right, and then all of the zombies that you basically just created are gone, because they're going to block them just so they can pretty much clash and,
Pretty much, so, and that also goes good with Sangromancer.
Right.
Because when creatures are dying, he's gaining life. So there's a lot of really good combos there. Or if you just want to kill everybody, doing damage to them, you can have that enchantment out that creatures can't block. So you can swing out on somebody and they just have to take all that damage. They don't have any cards in hand, so they don't have any responses. They don't have any creatures they can block with, so they just have to take that damage.
Reminds me of the Avengers whenever they're going into nowhere or whatever to see Thanos, and that guy's just in there, he's going, magnificent. Yeah. Anyway,
right, that's
tangent.
How you feel when all that happens.
Anyway. A bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah. So moving on, the next one we're going to talk about is a 3-drop sorcery. It is called Mind Rake.
This one's actually a new card. It's from Modern Horizons, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's a new one. Target player discards 2 cards. Or you can pay a black and a colorless for its overload cost. You may cast a spell for its overload cost. If you do, change its text by replacing all instances of target with each.
So, Mind Rake works like this. Normally, overload costs cost more than the original cost. But with this one, the reason they made it cheaper is because it also affects you. So, now, instead of just one person discarding 2 cards, now everybody's discarding 2 cards, and it only costs 2 mana to do. So, right out the gate, this is a 2-drop, so you can do this turn 2.
And everyone has, 5 to 7 cards in hand.
That they just wanted to keep. I mean, it's so early in the game, they don't want to discard any of those.
Right, so turn 2, you're discarding 2 cards right out the gate.
That's insane. So it's pretty bad. It's a really good card, though, and it's from the new Modern Horizons set. I'm also building another deck that's kind of got a lot of Modern Horizons stuff in it, so more to come soon. Anyways, so more value cards, just on discarding purposes.
Ugh, this one. I remember this card in your standard discard deck.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember how much I hated it.
It was a long time ago.
That was like 2-3 years.
More
2
than
years?
that.
That deck was crazy. And this was definitely in it. It is a 2-drop enchantment called Waste Not. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, add 2 black to your mana pool. Whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card.
So no matter what they discard, you're getting value on it. Right,
you're benefiting.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's stupid.
It's like going to Walmart and having great value on everything.
6-player Commander game.
Yeah.
You're getting 6 different things.
Yeah, 6 different things.
Especially if we're discarding more than one card.
What's really cool about that, too, is stuff like Awaken the Erstwhile or Saiyr of Insanity. Everybody's discarding immediately, and now you have tons of value.
Yep.
You either get a bunch of mana, or you get a bunch of zombies, or you get to draw a bunch of cards. It's just a beautiful card. Also, for those of you that don't know, Waste Not was actually designed by the Magic community. It's probably one of the only cards from text to artwork that was designed completely by us. So
and it says it on the bottom, designed by the Magic community.
It sure does. So pat yourself on the back because you made it.
Good job. So the next one we're going to talk about is Shocker, another enchantment. It is a 1-drop called Blood Chief Ascension. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Blood Chief Ascension. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Blood Chief Ascension has 3 or more quest counters on it, you may have that player lose 2 life. If you do, you gain 2 life. So that is crazy with Xantcha's ability.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do 2 damage to Xantcha's controller, and bam, that gets a quest counter.
Everybody gets to do damage, and then Blood Chief Ascension gets a lot of counters. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Blood Chief Ascension. I just want to kind of briefly mention it and put it in there. But it's definitely something you have to have in the deck.
That's
Blood
really
Chief Ascension.
And it can make you gain a lot of life, too.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy. Yeah.
So one more value card, and then we'll probably wrap things up.
Geth's Grimoire. It is a 4-drop artifact. Whenever an opponent discards a card from his or her hand, you may draw a card.
All right, so what makes this spell even better, this artifact, is now when you play Awaken the Erstwhile or Saiyr of Insanity, everybody's discarding cards, so now you're going to draw that many cards. Hope to God that you have a Reliquary Tower out and get to keep all of those cards. But regardless, you have a full hand and they don't, and that's kind of the point. So it's really cool. And they're more likely, again, to draw off of Xantcha because now they have to draw off of Xantcha. If they want any kind of card advantage to compete with you at all. So it's it's a little messed up. It's a little kind of janky, weird stuff. Yeah, it's definitely insane. So there are plenty of other cards that we didn't go over in this episode, but definitely check out the tapped out link below to see the rest of the cards that are in the deck, the rest of the 99, and let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and tell us what you would add and what you wouldn't, or maybe what you would take out.
Make sure you leave a comment below, or even better, check out our Discord link in the description below, because we love talking to you guys. We love talking about cards and trades and all sorts of decks and everything Magic or anything else you feel like talking about.
Yeah.
We love interacting with you guys. It's something we really enjoy doing.
We enjoy doing it every day because every morning we wake up and we'll see messages from all of you,
comments.
And it won't even be to us. It'll be amongst yourselves, which is really cool. But it's really cool to see our community kind of thrive and develop.
Yeah, and it's really fun getting to talk to you guys and interact, and we love doing it. So make sure you check out our Discord link below, or just leave a comment on our YouTube. We'll respond to that too, or our Facebook or Instagram. We're on all of it, and all of the links are in the description below. So make sure you check them out. So make sure you guys check out all of our stuff in the description below. If you guys missed anything, make sure you check out all of our previous episodes if you guys want to see more deck techs or even gameplay videos, and stick around because Wizard Wars 4 is on its way. We'll see you guys next time on MTG Alchemy.